Yep, it's Cody Jr. Plus. I'm back and always adding on more. This week we're doing power rankings. I don't really do them consistently, and it's because I don't really like doing them that much. I'm probably not going to do them next season. But I still have to continue it for this season. And there's been a lot of changes in the NFL. Some teams that we thought were terrible started winning out. Some teams that we thought might be a sleeper ended up falling. People thought the Panthers were going to win their division last year. This offseason. People thought the Panthers were the best team in the division, and that the Bucks were the worst. Now, I'm not going to say that my prediction on the Bucks was right so far. I had them getting 10 wins. They have like 5 right now, but I knew the Panthers were going to be terrible, and it's shown. They're worse than I thought they would be. Absolutely terrible. Let's just get through all the way to like 28 with the Patriots, Cardinals, Commanders, and Giants. All 4 of these teams are terrible. Some of them have some wins against good teams or close matches against good teams. It doesn't make them good. Every team's going to win at least 1 or 2, 3, 4 games in the NFL. But what matters is winning those games consistently, and none of these teams do that. The worst of the bunch is the Patriots, who are having their worst season of like almost maybe all time. It's been absolutely terrible for them. Giants were kind of used to this. Commanders were kind of used to this. Cardinals were kind of used to this. Bears and Jets. Jets have a terrible offense. They haven't scored in like forever. Well, they scored like 1 touchdown against the Dolphins, but still, it's been very bad. While the Bears are just weird. They're either beating teams by 1 point, blowing out the Raiders for some reason, or getting blown out themselves. They're still bad, though, because they're not consistent. Titans, Raiders. Now, the Titans have been interesting. They somehow lost that game to the Colts where they had like a 10-point lead. That was bad. Derrick Henry pretty much carries their entire team. Will Levis is something else. That's not entirely positive or negative. Titans are a bad team, though, and that's just a fact. Raiders. The Las Vegas Raiders are interesting, to say the least. Jimmy G's bad. Their defense needs a lot of work. I think the last loss to the Chiefs, so I'm pretty sure they had a lead against the Chiefs. Not great. But, the Raiders aren't the worst of the bunch, but they're also not anything special. And they're probably looking for the QB market, so you'd probably rather lose these games than win them. Saints are next, another team looking for the QBs. Actually, we'll put the Bucks and the Packers with them. All 3 of these teams are interesting. None of them have amazing QBs. They kind of get carried by their defense a lot of the time. Saints and Bucks are still in their division race, while the Packers are not coming back for the Lions. They could make the wild card, but they're not winning their division. While the Saints and Bucks, because of how bad their division is, they still have a chance. Actually, a pretty good chance of winning the division. So they're not really out of it yet. Even if they do win the division, they're getting eliminated. Let's be honest. Next, we got Broncos and Chargers, 2 teams in the AFC West. What I will say about these 2 teams is that one of them is not like the other. The Chargers have one of the hardest schedules in the league, and they have been not good. But, like, even if they have the hardest schedule in the league, they should have won some of those games that they lost, like the ones against the Dolphins. They've been very disappointing up to this point, and they put up 6 points. They beat the Patriots 6-0. I'm very disappointed. I thought the Chargers were going to be a good team this year. I guess not. Broncos, I thought they were going to be worse than they are right now. They were terrible at the start, and this just started winning games for no reason. I mean, I guess they don't want to tank, so congrats to the Broncos for somehow being in the race for the division. Next, we got the Falcons, Rams, and Seahawks. I'm pretty sure these 3 teams are... Well, at least the Falcons and Rams are always beside each other. The Seahawks have been jumping all over the place. Falcons and Rams are both pretty much the same team to me. They're just kind of inconsistent, but they'll win some games you don't expect and lose a game they're like, all right, how did you lose that game? But both these teams are kind of in the same area, except the Rams have to compete with the 49ers. While the Falcons, the only thing that's stopping them from winning their division is themselves, because all the teams in their division are terrible. I mean, both these teams could make it to the playoffs, but the Falcons have the higher chance, even though I think the Rams right now are looking like a slightly better team. Next, we got all the way to 14. We got Seahawks, Vikings, and Browns. Vikings lost Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson. I feel like if they didn't, they would be a top 10 team for me. It's disappointing. Honestly, I really think the Vikings were underrated this year. People are saying they're going to drop off hard, and so they kind of have. But it's not really their fault. It's because they have 2 big injuries. I had them going 10-7. They might. They could. They have to do very good, but they could. Seahawks been very disappointing defensively. It's just the worst defense I've seen this This is the worst defense I've seen from a good team in the league, except for maybe the Dolphins. I would probably take the Dolphins' defense over the Seahawks. It's just been very disappointing. Finally, we got the Browns, who've been great even without Nick Chubb. They just lost games they shouldn't have lost, like that game to the Rams where they got blown out, despite beating teams like the 49ers. I don't know, the Browns are weird as well. Let's get to the final 10 now. We got the Bills, who are the most disappointing team in the league by far. I don't know what happened to them. And we also got the Steelers and Texans, who are both led by young quarterbacks, one way better than another, but the Steelers fans won't admit it. Steelers have an easy schedule. They've been squeaking by because any team that goes against them just underperforms and gives the Steelers undeserving wins, in my opinion. I still think they're very good, but as long as they keep winning, I have to keep them up in the power rankings. Texans have been very exciting to watch. But CJ Stroud is like the first. Is looking to be the first rookie MVP. I don't think it's happening, but it would be very cool if it did. Texans still struggling to win games, though. They've been pretty good, I will say that. But they're just not in the lead of their division right now, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, they're not at all. But I think they're an average team, slightly above average, maybe. Well, they're in 11, but I just don't think they're that good. They don't have the talent. They just have a great quarterback, which can make any team look good. Now in the top 10, Bengals and Colts. Bengals have been interesting. I don't really know where to rank them because they don't have Joe Burrow right now. Even though I know they'll be a great team without Joe Burrow, they also just beat the Jags without him. So, yeah, I think the Bengals might be pretty good. And then we've got the Colts, who've been an interesting team. I can't really tell if they're good or bad. But recently they've been trending towards the good side. The NFC South has been way better than we thought. We thought the NFC South and the AFC South were both going to be terrible. No, the NFC South is just terrible. And the AFC South is really good. They have 3 teams with winning records. Speaking of teams with winning records, we have the Colts and the Jaguars before we hit the... Lions, Jags, Cowboys. Now, these are 3 teams I think could really be interchangeable. The Cowboys have literally no good wins, so you could lower them. The Jags have shown promise in really big wins. And the Lions, they have a great start to the season. They've been falling off a little bit. But the reason I put the Cowboys in front is just because simply I feel like they are the best team here. Now, even if they don't play against good teams, when they're playing against average or bad teams, they look amazing. Until they get another loss, I'm not going to drop them below 6. Now let's get into the top 5. The Dolphins and the Chiefs. The Chiefs beat the Dolphins, which is pretty much the only reason I have them above the Dolphins, because both of these teams aren't looking amazing recently. Chiefs lost to the Packers. Don't know what's up with that. Mahomes has been getting beat up in games. Tua, he's still going to be up a little bit. But, Tyreek Hill just is so good that gives the Dolphins a top 5 spot on their own. What would Tua be without Tyreek Hill? Final 3. Ravens and Eagles take up 3 and 2. Yep, the 2 birds are not number 1. I had the Eagles up there before, but first of all, they've had some really, really weird struggle games. And the Ravens are they're good. They're really good. I don't see they want my picks to make the Super Bowl just because I don't think they have any major weaknesses on their team. But I have to admit, the 49ers just beat the best team by like almost 30. So I'm going to have to give the best spot to them. Like, it's really interchangeable. You just keep the Eagles up there just because they have a better record. I wouldn't be mad, but for right now, I'm taking the team that beat the number 1 team. And we already knew that was a top 5 team anyway to be number 1. You guys agree, disagree? Well, I know you guys disagree. Your favorite team, you probably want to be higher, no matter how bad they are. But, nothing you can do about that. I think my next power rankings are either going to come, 2 weeks before the end of the season or just at the end of the season. We'll see when I feel like doing them again. But, yeah, see you guys later. Make sure to add on more to your day. Adios.